Hey there again, fellow open world gamers. How are you guys doing today? It's Robbie from Open World Games, and we are taking a look at a brand new demonstration for Dragon Age Inquisition straight from EGX 2014. This game is looking amazing, and yes, it is open world, and it is coming out on November 18th against some major heavy hitters, including Far Cry 4, the Halo Master Chief Collection Edition. It's going to be crazy in November, but you can count on Open World Games right here to cover all things open world gaming and sticking to that. So guys, here it is, Dragon Age Inquisition. Enjoy.
So this is Skyhold, this is your player base, and we talked about kind of epic fantasy worlds. You know, if you're going to have a castle and it's going to be your base, why not have it in the middle of the mountains, towering thousands of feet above everyone else? Because that's epic and that's aspirational. There's our war table, and here we see the introduction to the tarots. They follow through to the world space where we pick. This is our war table. The basic premise of this mission, which if you're a fan of the game you may have seen on YouTube already, is that there's some missing soldiers and we're going to go in and sort them out. But what I want you to think about here is, you know, this is a very threatening environment, but it's not lacking in color. And our prime considerations for a level like this are in terms of how do we lead you, the player, through it from a visual perspective. And a lot of that has to do with silhouette, with lighting, guiding the player. But that doesn't mean that you can't wander off into the midst. Exploration is a core pillar of Dragon Age Inquisition as an experience. So while we want to guide you through as much as possible so that you can complete the critical path, we also want to encourage you to diverge from that path and wander around. And the way we do that is to basically put interesting stuff on the left and right of the path, so that you're encouraged to just kind of head off into the wherever. What promotes interest from a visual sense? Well, silhouette is a great start. You can see in the distance there that we've got the fortress that you're ultimately going to guide to. And just having that silhouetted, the crenellations, it kind of makes you interested. It promotes excitement, and off you go. We adopted the Frostbite engine for this game, and we talked about surface response and how that can be better realized. You can see this from the ground. If you look at the water there, our technical artists spent a lot of time working on shaders that would give the maximum response, whether it's leather, whether it's metal, whether it's water. We've been working on an idea for a while now of kind of rolling composition. So, you know, composition is traditionally thought of as a static thing. You know, you can compose a frame beautifully. But what we want to do in a game environment when we're trying to lead you through is that the rolling composition provides interesting composition on the frame at all times, which is tricky to do because, you know, in a 3D world you can wander off wherever you want. So it's important that there's space. You can't just clutter the environment with stuff and hope people try and make sense of it visually. You can't do it. So what we try and do is the negative space is important as the positive. So the torches on the stairway there are a fairly unsubtle encouragement to just kind of progress that way. That's a fairly toasty way to die. And I hope what you'll notice from this as well, it's a dark area, it's set at night, the weather's fairly gloomy. It still has a rich aesthetic. You know, it's not desaturated, it's colorful, it's vibrant. It's a living space. Obviously, the cinematic there was just to guide you through. And in terms of the cinematics, you know, we're very much, the cinematic direction for Dragon Age is very traditional. We wanted it to be shot as if you had a physical rig. There's no extreme camera pans that you can do with motion captured rigs. It's all as if you had a physical 70mm Panavision camera that you could dolly and put on tracks. I think that harkens back to those kind of fantasy movies that, well, certainly I loved as a kid. You know, the things like Conan and that sort of thing, where it's all very traditional. Cinematically, it's very traditional. It relies on wonderful lighting and beautiful composition. And Arnold, of course, lest we forget. So again, lots of framing there, the brightness in the background, the holes in the roof that allow shards of light that focus on the gameplay area. And there's a little nod to what can be achieved if, you know, once the combat is finished. There's illuminated side chambers there, just with a little bit of torchlight. And here we're going to move into TACCAM. So the combat was obviously getting a bit too much for whoever was playing this. And that's the great thing about Dragon Age. If you're finding the combat too challenging or you want to approach it in a different way, then you can go into TACCAM, freeze the action, move around, and use your party a little bit more strategically. And it's just a different way of playing. You know, it doesn't preclude you playing from a third-person perspective, but it's just it gives you a more fulfilling experience if you swap and choose between the two. So obviously struggling to dispatch this guy. And of course, you know, there's multiple abilities, each with their own set of VFX. Again, the VFX add that extra layer of richness and lushness and color and vibrancy. You know, there's a lot going on. One of the problems we have as a creative team is sometimes to scale down the effects because they become too much. If you have a party of 4, 5 with enemies, they're all shooting off spells and abilities left, right, and center, then it can be overwhelming for you as a player and it becomes difficult to actually understand what's going on. So we've consciously scaled some of that down so that you can understand and the combat does make sense and you can make strategic decisions without having to guess. So I think I'm just going to upgrade there. There's extensive customization, as I'm sure you would expect from an RPG of this size. And they've completed the mission. There are the soldiers. And it's another blow for the Inquisition. We've increased our power. The way you progress through the game really is to increase your power and influence over the world. Again, you'll see the framing there, the silhouette. There's no debate about who is the premier character in this scene. We use the archway to silhouette. We use the backlighting. If you're really lucky, we get a nice lightning charge behind it that really adds to the effect. But it's random, so.
Join me. Help us stop the breach.
Is this why the lady of the skies will be here? To help heal the wounds in her skin? No, I'll join you. Let me make peace with my kid and I'll find where you set your flight.
And there we go. He's going to join the Inquisition, and you have increased your strength and influence in this particular area. And increasing that strength and influence allows you to progress through the game more quickly. Okay, so that was the game demo. Now we're going to close on another video, which is the villains trailer, which will show you a little bit more about some of the characters that we're bringing into Dragon Age Inquisition. So let's run 3.
Tell me, where is your maker now? Call him. Call down his wrath upon me. You cannot, for he does not exist.
They are under the command of the Venatori, in service to something called the Elder One.
Templars come to kill you. If we are to withstand this monster, we must control the battle.
More pain this time. The Elder One still comes. You are a mistake. You should never have existed.
Inquisition! With the Herald! For your lives! For all of us!
It ends here. Bow before your new god and be spared.
Too soon, too soon. Thank you very much. I hope this was of interest. Thanks for turning out.